Well, good Thursday morning, Backyard Brian here coming to you, and we're at an unnamed job site somewhere outside of Waynesboro. But I've got Brandon Pierce here with me, who's been a part of our team for a couple years now. He's actually the longest standing member of the Bear Creek team. And so why don't you just take a minute and introduce you to Brandon and let him kind of share with you why he became a carpenter, why he enjoys the work that we do, and because maybe this triggers something for someone out there listening, or maybe you have a young person that you know that might be interested in this field, and they can kind of learn a little bit from Brandon's story and journey, because this is a great line of work. It's a great opportunity. There's plenty of need in this industry for people to come into the trades, and we're seeing more and more conversation about that. Waynesboro Schools is launching a program that we're hopefully going to be involved in at some level to help more people come into the trades. And so anyway, so I just wanted to introduce you to Brandon. So Brandon, why don't you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit about your journey.
Well, I'm Brandon, and I've been in Bear Creek for 2.5 years now. I started in December of 2016, I believe, and I found Bear Creek by chance from a friend's request, and I've always wanted to get into construction. I've always wanted to. Since I was younger, I used to help my dad with different projects around the house, and always had a knack for anything three-dimensional. And never could figure out my niche, tried different jobs, retail, found carpentry, found construction, and found that it was very fulfilling, it was exactly what I wanted to do, and I couldn't find anything else that I'd rather do.
So what were some of the other work things that you tried before this?
Well, I've tried the basic fast food, and I've tried retail. I used to work at Lowe's, and I found I was actually pretty good at just figuring out what kind of screws went where. So there was a little training for me. I knew all the hardware coming in, but mostly retail. It just wasn't fitting my temperament.
Okay. And one of the interesting things is part of the Bear Creek journey is that we started as a construction cleaning company.
Yeah.
And so that's actually how you were hired part-time originally. And so you're one of the few that remembers those days.
Yeah.
I think you helped clean Planet Fitness. Is that right? Was your first job?
Yeah, I was at. I remember going in there looking for Victoria, and found her, and I spent a full 8 hours cleaning the floor with goof off from construction adhesive and other such things. And I remember Victoria that same day goes, "Oh yeah, Brian is starting a construction side of things," and I said, "Please sign me up. I'm not a cleaner, and I knew construction was the route for me."
So what are some of the things you like about your day-to-day work in carpentry?
I love the thought process through it. I love the planning ahead, having to think 6 moves ahead so you don't get stuck, you don't make a mistake. You got to think 3 times through a cut before you make one, so if it's like all you have left. I like the meticulous, I like the detail of it, the precision of carpentry.
What are some of your favorite things that you've done over the last couple of years, or been a part of, that you've created? What are some of your favorite creations if you look back on that?
One of my favorite, actually probably my favorite to date, was a garage overhang trim detail roof that was over a garage in Charlottesville. I loved it because it had everything from start to finish. It had roofing, and then it had framing, it had sheeting, roofing, then trim, and then paint. So from start to finish, it was my baby, and I loved it because it turned out real nice.
Yeah, and that was actually a pretty cool looking project. Helped the curb appeal of that house quite a bit. So now some of the not so great sides of our work. I mean, sometimes we get into messy things. It can be out, weather can be whatever it is. How does that bother you? What do you how does that all go for you?
Well, I'll tell you, I like the winter way better than the summer. The humidity and the heat is the only thing that ever really gets to me. I can dig holes all day, and I can...
All right, hold on a second. I think we had a little bit of a video glitch here. All right, go ahead.
I can dig holes all day. I can do most anything, but the humidity is one of the things that will get to me eventually. Another thing I don't like is staining decks. That is not one of my favorite things. But otherwise, no, there's not too much that'll get me down, weather included.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'll say to everyone here too is that because Brandon has enjoyed this, I think this is my take on it. He has learned very quickly, which has allowed him to advance quite a bit from in a couple years going from being a guy who was cleaning a floor to today he's leading a crew that's building a sunroom addition on a house, and he knows the majority of what he needs to know to lead that crew and do that work and do a great job. And so in a couple years time, he's learned a lot, he's developed a lot of skills, and therefore, you know, his compensation for his family's been able to advance accordingly. So it's been if this is something that you enjoy, if you like being outside, if you like working with your hands, if you like creating things, you know, then there's a great opportunity here. So is there anything you'd like to say to someone who's maybe considering coming into this line of work?
I would say that if you have common sense, you are a thinker at any level, and any level of detail oriented, that this is the job for you. I believe that anyone can become a carpenter, but it definitely helps if you come in with those three things, in my experience.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because sometimes the belief system is that carpentry is for people who don't think or struggle. It's just grunt work. But I think you've learned there's a lot of thinking that goes into what we do. There's math that goes into what we do, you know. And yes, there's grunt work. There's digging holes. There's breaking concrete, which you guys were doing yesterday. But there's also laying out rafters that takes math and geometry and so forth. So yeah, it takes all kinds of skills, and and just so those of you who are passing this around know, here at Bear Creek we realize that there are a lot of people that want to come into this that don't have any skill at all. Maybe you don't even know what a tape measure and a hammer are, and but if you want to learn this and you want to grow, then we'll help you learn, because this industry needs more workers. And so wherever you start, Brandon had a little bit of background, but he didn't have a lot when he started. We've had others that have started with that had no background at all. So anyway, so pass this video around, share it with a young person you know that maybe this might be something for them. And whether you come to work with us or somewhere else, look, there's plenty of opportunity. And even if we don't have a spot, I probably know people that are looking. So anyway, hope everyone has a great weekend. I'm gonna spend my weekend at softball like I do most of this season. And but whatever you're doing with your family, I hope you just have a great weekend, and we will talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye. Did your thing run out of battery again, or just go wonky?
Well, now it won't cut off.
So now we've got all that on the end.
Yeah.